How's it going, guys? My name's Jacob. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Perch, but this pitch isn't about me. It's about Mike. So I want you guys to meet Mike. So Mike is a collegiate strength and conditioning coach, and his two main priorities are to keep his athletes strong and keep them safe. To do this, he implements something called 1-rep max testing. So I'm not sure how many of you guys are familiar with strength and conditioning, but essentially a 1-rep max is the maximum amount of weight that you can lift for one repetition of a given exercise. So Mike will usually implement this testing at the beginning of an 8 to 12 week training cycle, and then every single workout after that is based off of a percentage of this 1-rep max. However, there's a lot of disadvantages to doing this type of testing. The first is it can lead to injury. Putting your body under that amount of stress at any given time is not necessarily safe. Also, it's very time intensive. You can see all these athletes standing around, not really doing work in the weight room. And what I want to talk most about is it's not really adequate for optimizing training loads and training load prescription. And that's because there are a number of confounding variables that can affect an athlete's energy on any given day. That's, for instance, how much sleep are my athletes getting? What's their nutrition like? Their academic workload? Or do they have any looming injuries? Their playing time and their social life. All of these variables affect an athlete's daily energy level, so it doesn't really make sense to prescribe daily training loads based off of a number that was measured 12 weeks ago, for instance. Mike wants his athletes to look like this: strong, explosive, being safe, performing quality movement. But what happens after a doubleheader or finals week or that frat party on Saturday night? His athletes might look more like this. They're putting their bodies in a bad position, they're putting themselves at risk for injury, and they're not getting what they should be out of the workout. Additionally, with so many athletes in the weight room at a given time, a collegiate strength and conditioning coach can have 50 to 100 athletes at a time. He can't watch each and every one of those athletes in determining that they're performing movements in a quality way. So Mike needs a solution to this problem. And there's a new, sorry I'm getting technical with strength training, but something called velocity-based training. And this is a new training methodology that strength and conditioning coaches are trying to implement. So what it does is you're measuring the velocity of each and every lift that an athlete is doing. And essentially it controls for fluctuations in energy. So Mike will now set velocity thresholds for all of his lifts, or all of his athletes. And if they can't hit that velocity, they take weight off the bar. If they can, or they're exceeding it, they put weight on, optimizing for their energy in that given day. Additionally, enhances training specificity. So a lineman and a running back don't play their sports in the same way, so they shouldn't necessarily be lifting in the same way. And finally, it initiates individualized coaching. So by having something that can measure the quality of every athlete's movement in the weight room at a given time, Mike can see which athletes are underperforming and which athletes are overperforming, and he can pick out the ones that are underperforming and have those conversations that he needs to have. But currently, there's no good way of measuring velocity in the weight room, and that's where Perch comes in. So Perch is a small 3D camera that's mounted on any weight rack, a tablet, and then an athlete management system, which is a web application that stores all of the data it collects. So a strength coach will buy Perch and install it on any one of his weight racks. An athlete will then walk up and sign in, and then while they lift, we're passively collecting data regarding the position of the barbell as well as their joints in 3D space. We'd immediately output their velocity and power output numbers to a tablet, which motivates and educates these workouts, and then we store all of that data so athletes and coaches can access it after the workout. So here's a quick demo of my co-founder Nate using the product. So on the left you have the tablet. So he's logging in, entering the weight he's doing in the exercise. Top right, you have a view from the camera, and then we just have a third-person view. So nothing connected to the barbell, nothing connected to the athlete. It doesn't disrupt the workflow in the weight room, and he's able to immediately get this data that strength and conditioning coaches care a ton about. So right now we're starting in the sports performance market. So these are professional, collegiate, and high school programs. They're actively looking for technology that can passively track these types of movements. This market also allows us to build our brand. It allows us to sell high-margin hardware and software to wealthy early adopters. But most importantly, it allows us to collect data on thousands of elite athletes. We can start looking at their movements in the weight room, their playing statistics, their nutrition, their sleep, and we can leverage this data to move on to additional follow-on markets. Follow-on market, we have a much bigger vision for this company than just sports performance, and that's really what we're calling an Amazon Go type experience for your workout. So I'm not sure how many are familiar with Amazon Go, but it's essentially Amazon's concept brick and mortar stores where it passively recognizes everything you're putting in your shopping cart, and then you can skip the checkout line. And using the same technology we're developing right now, cameras and machine learning, we're hoping to develop very much the same experience for the gym. So how would this work? So you have the Perch app, you walk in, it knows your fitness goals, your time constraints, and what equipment is currently available in the gym. It plans your route around the gym for you. And then can passively recognize your speed, your velocity, your biomechanics, keeping you safe and optimizing your workout as you're lifting. It uses facial recognition to passively collect all this information and can automatically deliver it to your trainer, to you, and your healthcare professional. So really, we're starting now by developing tools that elite athletes can use to optimize their performance and keep them safe. It will enable us to build a gym experience that will enable everybody to just move more and stay healthy. So that concludes. I can take questions.
Do you integrate with like the native iOS Perch App or third-party apps like Photography?
Say that again?
Do you integrate with the iOS Health app or the third-party app like Photography?
No, we currently don't integrate with any outside apps.
What support do you have for training the athlete or correcting any like misalignment or bad form?
Yeah, so what's great about the first market that we're in is the value proposition is really just telling athletes how fast they're lifting. So it's using cameras, it's not an easy problem, but it's a manageable problem. But the idea is that you can work with these elite athletes, these strength and conditioning coaches, people who are moving their bodies in the right way, and you can begin to develop biomechanic models. So then you can start looking at you and me, people who are, might be trying to get better at moving their bodies, and you can start, teaching them and providing feedback. Yep.
So Xbox with Connect has a workout app that corrects your form, right? If you're doing something in an incorrect manner, it will tell you to do it in the right manner. Are you planning to provide a similar service?
You say like correct people's form? Is that what you're asking? Yeah, that would be the end goal and where we think a huge value add is. That's a very difficult problem, and that's a lot of liability, and it's very much a user experience problem. But that is the end goal. Is looking at functional movements, things that people don't necessarily do, maybe because they're intimidated or they don't know how to do it, and just making it more accessible to more people. People work with personal trainers in many cases because of that. Personal training is often cost prohibitive, $60 to $100 per training session. So the real goal is to make these types of movements more accessible and to just improve health. We are. We're also fundraising, so we probably need to raise some more money first. But any other questions?
How'd you come up with the camera as a hardware solution versus like an accelerometer or some other hardware device?
Yeah, so some of our competitors, at least in the initial market, use accelerometers or other hardware devices. And really, it's a user experience thing. So any type of wearable in a team setting is not great. You need to buy one for every athlete. Additionally, some wearables like accelerometers aren't super high fidelity, they're not as accurate, but really it's about this long-term vision. So it's about how do we scale into these other markets and provide this vision and this experience that we really think is the future of the gym. And you can't really do that with an accelerometer or wearable. You have to do it with a vision-based solution.
How far off is that long-term vision?
We're still right now working on the initial product. So we're still very early stage. We have pilot studies right now in a couple local schools. So we're still developing the initial camera algorithm. But we think that probably 5 to 6 years, hopefully. But it's a very difficult problem that nobody's really tried to tackle yet. So we don't know.
What does the team look like? Do you guys have experience in sports?
Yeah, so the team is, we're 3 recent MIT graduates, all mechanical, electrical, and software engineers. We played varsity athletics at MIT. But yeah. Cool. Thank you, guys.